London is full of curious and fascinating history, from Tower Bridge to those iconic beefeaters. But today we are getting curious about something much more important: London's historic and curious shops. So grab your pounds and your pence and let's crack on and get stuck right in.
How did simple medieval market stalls become this and this? How did a retail revolutionary get women to shop in his store a little bit longer? Who wore this dress? What is a royal warrant? What is so magical about this arcade? And why is this arcade called a garden? What's the history of the tiara? And what does Elvis have to do with this lovely atelier? And why is a bishop so stinky in this darling London shop? It is time to get curious about London's curious shops. The history of London's shops goes back to the Middle Ages and open-air markets, where individual families often sold just one specific item in their stall or tent, the one item that they grew, milked, crafted, or sewed. Over time, those markets and market squares evolved into elegant arcades like the legendary Covent Garden.
The history of London's curious shops has to include Covent Garden. Its history goes back more than 400 years. Now, the name Covent Garden is actually a mispronunciation of Convent Garden, and that started back in the 1500s when the monks of Westminster Abbey used this area as their vegetable garden. Fast forward a couple of centuries, and Covent Garden becomes the largest produce market in the world. And today, of course, it's not just produce, it is shops, shops, and more shops.
Another historic London market dates back even further to the 14th century in what was once the center of Londinium, or Roman London. It too started as an open-air market and was later covered into an arcade. It survived the Great Fire of London in 1666 and became quite elegant during the Victorian era. But its elegance is only one part of its magical history. This place should look familiar if you know your Gryffindor from your Hufflepuff. Yep, this London shop has the magical Harry Potter touch to it. This is Leadenhall Market, which of course was the inspiration for Diagon Alley. This one was built in 1881 and still has that beautiful Victorian architecture. Now, in this case, the real location is almost better than the film location, although here I don't think you're gonna find Ollivander's wand shop or be able to buy any Bertie Bott's every flavor beans. So while you may not find Hagrid or Harry perusing the shops at Leadenhall Market, you will find lovely upscale clothing shops and elegant eateries. Quite the improvement from its meat market days. Next in our evolution of curious London shops, from the outdoor markets and arcades, we leap forward to these supersized temples to shopping. I mean, really, do these look like a boring place to buy your socks in bulk? No, they truly are temples of sorts, and that was just the idea behind these behemoths of department stores that went up during the Victorian era. First, there is the legendary Harrods, which began as a small grocery store by Charles Henry Harrod in the 1800s. Today, it boasts 1 million square feet of retail space and 330 departments. Of its many shopping firsts, Harrods unveiled the moving staircase, Britain's very first escalator, in 1898. Legend has it that a ride on this newfangled moving staircase was so nerve-wracking that customers had to be given a brandy once they made it to the top. London's equally legendary Marks & Spencer started in 1884 as a humble market stall called Mark's Penny Bazaar. Polish immigrant Michael Marks ran that stall and later met his future partner Thomas Spencer. Together, they combined many outdoor stalls throughout England into one Marks & Spencer. Of its many accolades, M&S is perhaps best known for its food hall. And then there's Selfridges. Harry Gordon Selfridge was born an American, but became a British citizen after opening the colossal Selfridge's department store here on Oxford Street in the early 20th century. A pioneer in the science of shopping, Selfridge revolutionized the way we shop. He made it a leisure activity, not a chore. He also knew the value of putting on a show, from over-the-top window displays to once he even put an entire airplane inside his store. Selfridge's was also one of the first for something else, ladies' restrooms. Thank you, Mr. Selfridge. But as historic as these larger-than-life temples to consumerism are, there is another category of London shop that, while they may be smaller, they have a special something that elevates them above the rest. And it is these curious London shops that we explore today.